Alright, I am back with another Destiny 2 video. I originally posted that I was not going to bother to log in for the exotic mission, as I just didn't really feel the need. But somehow my desire increased when people were saying it was underwhelming. So I was like, I gotta really kind of see what this is about. So I logged in, I made a Fire Team Finder post, because of course I did, and played the mission. As many people have been saying, it is one of the missions of all time. This is easily one of the worst exotic missions they've done, maybe the worst. I can't remember all of them. There's been so many now, but I certainly think it is down there, if not at the bottom. This is Heliostat, where the plot is, I don't really know. We're fighting Cabal and Vex, and it's something about Maya Sundaresh wants to do something with a war sat. Like the whole quote unquote storyline of Ash and Iron, I have no idea what's going on. They're so limited in how they can tell the story here with these like tiny activities, and now whatever the hell's going on in this exotic mission that I don't even bother. Like, we've got this Siam showing up to help us, and like I know we're friends with Keitel, but it's a little out of nowhere. I know they're in Reclaim, hanging out for some reason. But yeah, so they're there. The mechanic is we have the Scions help us hack things and then sometimes give us a little shield. Telling a Scion to come hack something is sort of the equivalent of just flipping a switch. I think they could be replaced by a switch, and the protection thing could be replaced by, I don't know, a plate or something. So I don't really see that being all that interesting. The mission is very short. The only reason that it is any length is just figuring out which doors not to get electrocuted in. Which, if there's a way to figure out which door to not get electrocuted in, I don't actually know. So that definitely took the longest. Maybe there's some clues or something about how that's supposed to warn you, but I have no idea. Figuring out some of the mechanics with those symbols took a little bit of time, and getting the Scion where you needed to go and finding random vents places where you wouldn't expect them. There's really only like 3 rooms of enemies. I don't know if this is especially hard because you're playing it. The first time you play it, like, there's no modifiers, no power delta, no nothing. So it's very easy. I don't really necessarily blame the quest for being easy, given that you're playing just initially with, it being not remotely challenging. They just want to kind of set it up in normal mode. That is, of course, the mode that will just give you the thing at the end, and we've certainly had exotic missions that were more challenging at baseline. By the time you get to the end, there is a Centurion boss who I learned after the fact is, I guess, the boss of one of the Curse of Osiris strikes from 8 years ago. I don't remember his name, but he's one of the ones inside the... What was it? Was it the Corridors of Time? It wasn't the Vex Network. It was somewhere in there with the jumpy platforms and stuff. I guess he got pulled out of that into the future, or he's just been chilling for 8 years. I have no idea. Easy fights. He's got a little shield. You get past it, and then you are told to reach through time. That is not a new phase of the mission. It just ends. You get your axe once you put your hand through this little quicksilver thing, and that's it. The mission ends, and it definitely felt like that was a mid-mission boss rather than the final boss. So just very abrupt, very short, and so much of this was taken from Spire of the Watcher, the architecture, like the switch shooting, and then I think even the music is from Spire of the Watcher, and I guess, they have overlap with Warmind based stuff, but once again, something that feels pretty recycled. I talked today in an article about how this just feels like another example of how much Destiny has shrunk, where even the exotic missions are smaller than they used to be, which is something that Destiny has generally done really well. We know they were working on this up until a few weeks ago. people were like, oh, this is all they added. I don't think they were adding stuff. I think they were just making it so there weren't bugs. I didn't get any bugs, but Lord, I'm sure there's bugs in there somewhere, but at least I ran it and didn't get locked out or booted or whatever. So that was good, I guess. It's just, everything's just been so scaled back. Like, oh yeah, Ash and Iron is definitely into the light size, huh? And then, you know, smaller expansion, seasons have shrunk to not really exist, even though they're still calling these seasons. And everything is just a lot smaller. I mean, the game as a whole is a lot smaller. It's just pretty much the portal now, and everything else in the game, you know, some of it was vaulted, some of it still exists, but there's no point doing any of it based on the new system, the new tiers, and all that stuff. It's a bummer. I mean, I didn't even choose the axe. I just logged out. I've heard people say it's kind of underwhelming. And, you know, it's something that you would hope would bring people back and be like, oh, guys, there's this cool new mission you got to do. Like, finally, it's a reason to log in at reset. And no one is saying that, really. I think a couple people I've seen were like, I like this. I like that it was short and stuff like that. But I don't know if it's the most efficient one to run. I don't understand the electric doors. If there's a way to know how to not get electrocuted, then I think it would be pretty short. Figuring out exactly where to go in the jumping puzzle took a couple extra minutes. I think I have some of that footage here maybe. But it was just, it was very underwhelming. And it gives me, you know, not a whole lot of hope that the bigger missions in the future are going to be nearly as big as they were. I've said, like, the only thing that was, like, kind of really on par with past stuff was the raid, a raid that most people like. People like the challenge mode, or what is it called? Epic raid. And, you know, everything else. Edge of Fate was okay. Edge of Fate was a little bigger than I thought, but obviously not as big as a normal expansion. And just everything is very shrunken. I will say there were a couple cool things that came with this, which is namely just Sandbox stuff. The one in particular that stands out to me is this kind of crazy change where all of the Warlock buddies now count as grenades. That opens the door to some insane shit where, you know, you stack 200 grenades and you can either do like a getaway artist, you can do that new, I don't remember the Helion exotic from this season, or what's the grenade helmet that gives you more damage? I don't remember, but you know what I'm talking about. I've been using Getaway Artist and Prismatic. Prismatic has a bunch of fragments that are, was it Solar Grenade or All Grenade? They cure you, and then there's one that makes Void Grenades give you, or no, I think it's All Grenades, give you volatile weapons on kill, and then there's something like the Arc Buddy jolts enemies when it hits them, and it's just, you know, I slap on Helion and the Arc one from Getaway Artist, and you're just rolling around with these things, and you don't have to do anything. I mean, like, I think I was like Delta under 30 trying these out, and you just don't need to shoot your gun most of the time. Like, there's champions, I'm just stunning them because things are getting ignited and jolted and stuff, and you just don't really have to do much. I don't know if it's anti-barrier, I don't think so, but then you just use your melee or whatever, and that gives you radiant. It's pretty crazy. I don't know, you know, I don't know if it's quote overpowered. It's certainly not like the boss DPS thing, but for just normal content, I mean, even like high delta content, it's pretty crazy. And I had fun building that, and I had fun playing with it a little bit, but what do you have to play it in? The portal. So I didn't feel like jumping back into the portal for more than a few runs because I don't care. I did experience some of the changes they made. Like, I was getting a lot more actual power upgrades, like multiple ones in one run of something, which, good, you know, that's good. It does encourage you to do the ones with the bonus drops. That is how it works, right? The bonus drops now give you powerful, I think, or something like that. So there's some changes that are good, but I don't really want to keep doing the portal, even with new reclaim missions. And they just I couldn't find the exotic mission, and they just put it as one of the squares in Pinnacle Ops. So, you know, I'm back to not playing. I'm playing Ghost of Yotei and sometimes Borderlands 4. And I don't know. I don't really know of a reason to come back. If Festival of the Lost does what Solstice did and it just rains tier 5 weapons on you and those weapons are good, maybe I'll come back for that. That was probably the best thing that's happened during this 4 or 5 month period or whatever it's been, so that could get me back because I don't have a lot of tier 5 stuff still because I'm like mid 400s and I don't care about grinding much higher than that, so we'll see. But yeah, I don't know, that's where things are at after resets. Not a great mission, some kind of cool sandbox buffs, but yeah, we'll see where things go from here, but I'm not expecting anything terribly interesting. We'll see about Festival of the Lost. So thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.